Welcome back, guys. So we are back for episode 2 of our weekly outlook. And today I want to talk to you just on the subject of where you're at in life. Now, the question that I really wanted to, or where I wanted to get you at today is just really asking yourself, have you ever paused to look around at the world? We notice how everyone seems to be rushing to their 9 to 5 jobs, thinking it's the only way to ensure a stable life. And, I thought the same thing at one point, but, there's an entire group out there when you think about it, a kind of tribe, if you will, that's challenging that very notion. And that group of people, that tribe of people, that's us, traders, right? We're the kind of folks, as it were, that we decided that we're not just going to follow a trend. We're the mavericks, we're the outliners. And we've decided to take on this brave soul and, really stared the conventional path in the face and said, thanks, but no thanks. And we've decided on a different route to success, one filled with graphs and numbers and the pulse of the market. Now, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, is it, at the end of the day? But it's fascinating to think about that, right? Because there's an idea that there's not just one path, but there's many, to success and happiness. And it really makes me wonder, when I was thinking about it today, in what other areas of our lives are we just following the crowd without really stopping to think if it's truly the right path for us? And I think it's a question we have to all ask ourselves because, it's quite fascinating, how our society functions. Whenever the majority doesn't get something, it's often dismissed, right? People laugh at it or it even gets ignored. And it's kind of like the popular kids in school, deciding what's cool and what's not. And just like that, traders frequently find themselves on the receiving end of such judgment. And I'm sure, you've been through it because I've been through it many times before. And even trading full time for like 3-4 years, there were people around me within my family who still scorned at the idea of trading. They've seen it with kind of like raised eyebrows or whispered about, as taking too big of a risk. But here's kind of the reality check, right? Trading isn't some newfangled concept or trend that's just suddenly popped up. I know with social media, it's kind of obviously expanded quite rapidly. But in my opinion, trading is deeply rooted in our history. Okay. And you want to think back to ancient civilians, right? Before the humdrum of the so-called 9 to 5, right? Before the structured corporate hierarchies, there were traders, right? They were the backbone of economies, the connectors of distant lands, as you want to call it, and the facilitators of cultural exchange. Trading isn't just a job or a hobby. It's a legacy. It's a craft. It's an art that requires insight, intuition, and a deep understanding of the intricate dance of, let's say, supply and demand. And to reduce it to just a risky business, as some people call it, is basically to ignore, millennia of its profound impact in the world. And it's something that we should be proud of and own, right? Not giving into to society and what they think about us as traders or the journey that we decided to embark on. Those brave souls who dive into trading today, which is me and you, aren't just chasing quick profits, right? That's what people fail to see. We're echoing the actions of ancient merchants, even sailors and entrepreneurs, as far as I'm concerned. We're holding the torch of a tradition that has been alive for centuries, navigating the modern markets with the spirit of the trailblazers, if we want to call, trailblazers before them kind of thing, right? So next time, guys, when you think of traders, remember and make sure people understand this. We're not just participating in a system, right? We're upholding an age-old tradition. Trading isn't just, a profession for us. It's a calling, right? It's a passion that isn't understood by many. And to be a good trader or to be a trader, to say the least, is to stand at the crossroads of risk and reward every single day. When you wake up, you're basically putting yourself on the front line in front of that mirror to be judged, you know? And being a trader is about embracing uncertainties that for most people would get dizzy or suffer from anxiety. And most people, while they'll see the wall, right, we see a door. Where the majority spot danger, a trader discerns an opportunity waiting to be harnessed. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about this topic today, because I want you guys to start embracing what it is that you do. You know, it's not just about taking leaps into the unknown. It's backed by an intricate dance of intuition that is honed over years and years, and a skill set that meticulously sharpened or sharpens with time, right? It's like playing a grand game of chess, anticipating, you know, several moves ahead, but on a board that constantly is evolving and reshaping itself. And with any journey, you know, it's going to have its peaks and valleys, right? The highs are going to be static, sure, but the lows, well, at times they're going to be gut-wrenching. But what sets us apart, right, as true traders, isn't just our ability to celebrate victories, it's the resilience in the face of setbacks, right? Our determination doesn't waver, right? It's relentless. And what we do when we have these setbacks is we dust ourselves off, we learn, we adapt, and then we plunge back into the renewed vigor. How many people are doing that in today's society? Just waking up, sleepwalking, working their 9 to 5 and coming back home. Oh, you're not ambitious enough. You're working way too hard. You're risking too much. Some look at traders and think that their achievements come easy or are merely a product of luck. But those that are truly immersed in the trading world, we understand the grit and the determination behind every decision that we make. And each chart isn't just a set of lines and numbers to us. No, it's a story. It's a puzzle waiting to be deciphered. And every move we make, guys, whether it culminates into a win or a loss, is a chapter added to our ongoing story. Because in the end, right, the success that we achieve as a trader isn't handed to us on a silver platter. Let's never forget that. Most people think that, right? It's carved out. It's what we have carved out. And it's shaped through countless hours of study, analysis, and real-world experiences. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a testament to our spirit and tenacity. And that's what makes us, or makes our journey, not comfortable. Or should I say, that's what makes our journey not just commendable, but inspiring. So when you think about your journey, guys, I want you to really take pride in what you're doing, regardless of the path we choose, right? There's no escaping the chorus of voices, okay? There's always going to be that chatter from the sidelines. Voices that come as unsolicited advisors, as we call it, or critics in disguise. Sometimes even well-meaning friends and family who simply worry for us, they will question and they're going to doubt, and sometimes they're going to even ridicule. Why take the risk, Rox? Why not choose something more stable? Look at how much you're working. Look how stressed you look. Look how many hours you're staying up in the morning or at night. Look how early you wake up in the morning. But guys, here's the thing to understand, right? Their perception of success, of what's right, is often limited by invisible boundaries they've never dared to question. And own that, right? Their horizon is defined by the four walls of an office cubicle, or the ticking clock that dictates their day, and societal norms that they've never thought to challenge. It's not really their fault, okay? It's just all they've known or allowed themselves to believe. But don't get sucked into it, because you guys have seen beyond that, right? Beyond the monotony, or beyond the safe path, should I say. And in trading, like in any non-traditional venture, the terrain for us is going to be unique. Not one trader is the same, right? It's paved with unpredictability, with thrilling peaks of accomplishments and challenging valleys of lessons, right? The roller coaster of emotions, the adrenaline, the heartaches and the joys, you know, it's all integral to our personal journey. So when the noise gets loud, guys, when the voices of doubt start creeping in, you know, I want you guys to anchor yourself to your why. Remember the vision that set you on this path. I want you to reaffirm your commitment to your goals, because those voices, unfortunately, my friends, are always going to be there. But your conviction, your determination, your dream, they can drown out any external noise if you let them. Okay. So the road to trading success isn't just about numbers and charts. It's a testament to your spirit, your perseverance. So I want you guys to start standing tall, right? Stay grounded and keep moving forward. Own what you do, because every step, every decision, every triumph, every setback, they're all brushstrokes on the masterpiece that will be your legacy. And at the heart of every choice and every risk that you guys are taking, every sleepless night analyzing the charts and patterns, lies a simple yet profound quest: freedom. And not just any kind, okay? It's the one you feel when you break free from physical chains, okay? Not that kind of pain, right? But the exhilarating freedom of carving out your destiny, or truly being a master of your fate. Guys, it's about waking up every single day knowing that you're not just following a script written by someone else. It's about rejecting rejecting the things of the system that's been created to maintain that status quo. You know, a system that often unknowingly converts dreamers into just functionaries, visionaries into just another piece of vast machinery. And that's not you, my friends. You have chosen to be different, not just to live, but to also thrive, to not just exist, but to leave a mark. It's a decision to live life authentically, okay, on terms that you define and not dictated by societal norms or expectations. And sure, there's going to be moments of doubt. Never forget that, right? Moments when you're going to look around and wonder if you strayed, you know, off the beaten path, as it were. Moments when, you know, the weight of choices and their consequences might feel overwhelming. But in those moments, right, guys, I need you to pause, take a deep breath. Remember the spark, the passion, the vision that sets you on this journey in the first place and what brought you here. Remember those things. Remember that initial dream, right? The dream of autonomy, of building something that's uniquely yours. Because, my friends, success isn't just about accolades, excuse me, or numbers in the bank account. It's about living with purpose, with intention. It's about realizing that you, just like anyone else who's ever dared to dream big, are deserving of success. Not because you're special, but because you've put in the work, right? The heart and the soul. So I want you guys to hold on to that belief, right? Cherish it and let it be the beacon that really guides you through the trials and triumphs of your trading journey. And to every single one of you listening right now, I want you to understand that your pursuit extends far beyond the immediate gains and the ebbs and flows of the market. Okay. Your journey is emblematic of your deeper desire, you know, a pursuit of legacy that is deeply rooted, not just in financial independence, but in every essence of freedom itself. And this freedom that eventually will allow you to craft your destiny. And I want you to continue writing that story, because in this pursuit, there will always be noise, voices and doubts, that question and that scoff, whatever it may be. There's going to be skeptics who have never dared to venture beyond their comfort zones, and critics who hide behind their fear of the unknown. But never forget this, that they are just that, noise. Okay, fleeting and it's insignificant in the grand tapestry of your ambition. Your ambition. Okay. And it's that fire in your belly, that unwavering determination, that hunger to learn and grow that will truly, truly define your trajectory. Your vision, coupled with the grit that you show day in and day out, isn't just paving a pathway to success, it's laying the foundation for your legacy. As a dad, as a husband, as a wife, as a mum, as sons and daughters, as uncles and aunties, whoever it may be that you're setting that foundation and example to and creating that legacy. So I just want to say in today's message, when the days get tough, and they will, and when doubts start to creep in, just take a moment, reflect on your why. Remember that you're not in this just merely for short-term gains, as some people think. You're in this for the long haul, for the legacy, for the dream of absolute freedom. And I want you guys to start trusting in your journey. I want you to have faith in your decisions. I want you to embrace every challenge, celebrate every milestone, and always, always keep learning. Because when you stay authentic, right? When you stay unapologetically true to who you are and what you believe in, success isn't just on the horizon. It's a guaranteed destination. So I want you guys to forge ahead, okay, with your heads high. Yeah, make sure that your spirit is undeterred. And I want you guys to remain and always and forever unapologetically you, because you deserve this. So let's move on to the market reviews, guys. Now, yesterday we looked at pound USD and was looking for that break above 22.65. We had US and yen bank holiday today. And you can probably see here, we had a gap down at market open. We just couldn't continue that momentum back to the upside. Okay. We're still high, holding the higher low here. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens over the course of the New York close into the Asian Frankfurt pre-London session here. But I will just point out to you that this area 22.62 is a strong area of resistance. Okay. So just be mindful of that. We've created a new zone here, as you can see, around 21.63. So this is a mini range within a range. So it'll be very interesting to see how we react to this tomorrow with a range back to the upside. And if we continue to create this bullish sentiment, I'm not so much of a reversal trader, only from intraday perspective when the trend changes, but from, let's say, a 4H perspective here. If you start to get some reactions here, then use some scaling down techniques to look for those trend changes and those brick wall breaks to see if we can bounce off of the structural highs at this resistance and then further move back to the downside, even if it's just for a short-term higher low formation here. But I'm kind of still focused on this bullish move, at least back to 22.63 tomorrow. So this is where I'm going to be looking for the bounce around 21.64. If we find some strong momentum through the night and we break above and close, then it's going to be the same thing, looking for the bounce here off of 22.65 back to the upside. And then, of course, if we continue to fail to break this high, then we'll just use some intraday scaling down techniques to look for those sells from the structures. But as of now, I still think the focus is bullish. We did see this higher low, which is a natural formation in an uptrend. So let's just see what happens. But today's just the day of patience, really here. Nothing to, really be talking about. So let's see what happens moving forward. Now, looking at EURUSD from a 4H perspective, we have the exact same formations here. However, we do see more of a weakness with the euro than we do see the strength with the pound. Because if we go back over to the pound here, you can see that we did form a structural low. And after the bullish 4H close, we had a continuation, which is a sign of bullish sentiment. Here, we create a bullish 4H candle close, which is due to close in 20 minutes. And we're having that rejection again. So the pressure to the downside is very strong. For me, I'm not really a fan of this kind of formation here. I don't trust this to be a support level as much as I like to see this as a support level, simply because I've had an indication here of that bullish sentiment. So there's a much higher chance that we'll have another reaction from this level. Whereas here, we closed bearish and went bullish, but we're not sustaining that bullish sentiment. So there might be, some sort of signs of a continuation back to the downside. If I'm looking for sells tomorrow, The area that I'm looking for price to come back to as a target, so just obviously depending on the range here, is back down to some of these lows. So let's just say we close here. The range back down to these lows is around, let's just even call it 40 pips. The question you must ask yourself, is this enough range from an intraday perspective, not the 4H, an intraday perspective, to look for continuations to the downside? So if you have a 10 pip stop loss, you go for 1 to 3, you've got a 30 pip range, then that's definitely enough range. If you haven't, then obviously you're waiting for price to develop the ranges that you need in order to take these trades, and then look for a tradable opportunity. As of now, I don't think there's much to talk about here. If we start to see price holding these levels, which is these wick rejection areas, and we start seeing bullish sentiment through the Asia Frankfurt pre-London session, then by all means, I mean, the confluence is still there of that USD weakness, and I'll be happy to buy for the zone. I kind of feel we're in no man's land at the moment with this one, but let's just see what happens. At the moment, the break above this high is going to take a drastic move. I don't think we're going to make it anytime tomorrow, but definitely looking into maybe Wednesday, Thursday, if we do start to push above these areas around 0610, then we can look for the continuation buys. At the moment, this looks more like intraday structure plays, so just look out for it, guys. I'm not unbiased here for looking for sales as well, if given the evidence tomorrow. So what would I be looking for? Well, just as an example, because we have the strong bearish sentiment, I'll be looking for price to continue to hold around these areas. So from an intraday perspective, you can see here we have the intraday trends. This is the area in the market where price has tapped into and failed to break, meaning that the closer I can get to 0555, the better the stop loss placement. And then, of course, the better the range back to the downside if I do get into a tradable opportunity. Okay, that's what I mean. All right, so let's see what happens with this one. From pound JPY perspective, again, by the looks of it, we are seeing yen strength here. Okay, let's take a look at USD JPY. Yeah, we are. So we had quite a bit of USD strength, yen strength today. You can see the 6 to 10, which is pre-London. Then we had the pre-New York, and then the New York candle here. We've just been bearish the whole day. So that's why we're seeing this weakness on pound JPY, or the pound, at this stage. Is this sustainable? Well, as far as I'm concerned, from a Forex perspective, this is still an uptrend, right? If we look at this from a price action perspective, technically we are bouncing into a retest level in the market. We're getting a reaction from this, which happens all the time, right? If we can hold this level at 181.27, then you know what? I'm still being more inclined to buy this back to the upside, especially with pound USD showing signs of that initial strength. The pound showing that signs of that initial strength. We might just have a slight delay over here, and maybe be waiting for more volume tomorrow when the markets are open to look for those buys to the upside. It's very easy, guys, when you trade like this, because it's simple. You understand the story, right from the outset, or from the beginning. And it's kind of like, well, if this trade setup develops at this stage, then I'll buy. It's that simple, because the narrative of what we're talking about here, the story that we have concluded, is absolute facts. Now, when we take the trade, it's not a fact that the trade will win, but the story is a fact. There's no denying that. And then that's why we play, the risk to reward. What is our edge game? Okay. The numbers, right? Making sure that we have a positive expectancy. So if it doesn't hold this level and it starts to break through, then we can start to shift the story, right? We've created higher highs and higher lows for such a long period of time. We now created that shift to the downside, which we now expect to be a higher low. We're at a retest level, which we expect price to bounce off, which it is. If it fails to do all of that, and then we break below this level, then we can simply change the story and say, well, none of that is playing out, meaning that the bearish sentiment seems to be much stronger than the actual story of what we're seeing on this chart. Now it's time to switch to sells. And then you go over to USD JPY, you add the confluence of that yen strength. And if you continue to see this strength pushing to the downside, even if you don't trade USD JPY, then you use the validation of the confluence of that yen strength to then look for those sells. And then what do you do? Well, you just play the range game again. You say, well, where's the next area where price is going to start bouncing from? More than likely here. 76 pips on pound JPY is insane. Get a 10, 12 pip stop loss and look at your range for your take profit there. if you get a nice intraday trading opportunity. So let's see what happens with the bounce off of this level here around 181.24. If we can hold it, we're looking for buys. If we break it, then of course we're looking for sells. At the moment, we're still got this 4-hour higher low, higher high situation, and now a new higher low, and we're reacting from this level. Maybe when more volume comes in, we just absolutely shatter these levels, but who cares? I want you guys to learn how to read price action, understand the stories and the narratives that we are building when analyzing our charts. We've been on this for what, 7-8 minutes now? How quickly do you come to the charts and really build a story that you truly understand? Because it's those stories and those beliefs that are going to carry you through for eternity until you decide to quit trading. Okay, so that's that. Just a disclaimer. Again, guys, what I'm telling you is not absolute facts. This is not financial advice. Okay, this is just for educational purposes only. Now, we know that yen is strong. We can see that with pound JPY. We've had this continuation push to the downside. I'm not looking to trade this. We're in no man's land right now. If we come back down to some of these areas where we've had these reactions before, be looking to trade this to the upside unless the yen continues to strengthen and we finally get some breaks below some of these areas. If we do, then what are we looking for? Well, strong bearish candle closes. If that's what we keep getting, then we're not trading it. Now, from an intraday perspective, right, how do we analyze that this is ready for buys? But if price comes into this area, let's change the color here. Let's say price comes into this area. That weren't much of a change, was it? If price comes into this area and we're strong bearish, what are we going to see on the lower time frames? We're going to see a downtrend, right? Now, if the downtrend, even if this candle is still red, if the downtrend starts to show signs of indecision candles, pin bars that are failing to break, and we're creating an area where price fails to break below, we start seeing a slowdown of this 4H candle. And then let's say we have a structural lower high on this downtrend. From an intraday perspective, we start to retrace, creating new structural highs, breaking above previous lower highs, invalidating this downtrend on the intraday time frames, and then this 4H candle now leaves a wick behind, then what am I going to think? The bearish sentiment wasn't strong enough to sustain that momentum. We're seeing a decrease in that bearish sentiment. When the new candle opens, guess what I'm looking for? I'm looking for price to continue to drive this market up. If that's the case, that's when I'm selling. Okay? I'm not looking to just dive into a trade when we get here. I'm looking for the evidence linked to the lower time frames based on what happens every single day, which is the development of trends. Okay? So at the moment, it's in no man's land. I'm waiting for the evidence around this area, 148.30 tomorrow, and let's see what happens. Okay? Now, looking at Aussie dollar JPY, I did mention that we had a weakness in the USD. Okay? Now, what is really good about this is strong evidence or added confluence, should I say? Be careful what I say here. Added confluence that the idea that USD is still showing signs of weakness. And there is a chance that we might retrace this huge movements that we've had in recent history. Now, we are still trapped in a range and we do want to adjust that to around here. So at the moment, we haven't officially broken it. Okay. But the idea is this. If we start to see pound USD continuing to push to the upside, that is showing signs of USD weakness, right? If Aussie dollar has been bullish for the whole period of the day from pre-London, pre-New York and New York, there is strong signs that we can continue bullish. That being the case, what we're looking for is a sustainable break close above these highs here, and then that continuation to the upside. Okay? Then that will add confluence to the idea of a continuation to the upside here, and or eventually this week, a break above this area. Let's see. We're not looking to trade them simultaneously, but we're looking to build the picture. At the moment, I'm still bullish on Aussie dollar USD. Let's see what happens moving through the Asian, pre-New York, pre-London, Frankfurt, whatever you want to call it, sessions. And then let's see what happens when we come back to trade tomorrow. Now, gold has done a whole heap of madness. Is this evidence here, right, of USD weakness? Are we starting to put money back into gold is the question. This huge gap to the upside has not been filled. We had an attempt to push to the downside, right? So we created this structural high now. We're failing to break it. So there is some resistance. But in terms of what's happened, right, we can see here from 7 to 11, we've had this bearish move to the downside. And what have we done now? We've also sustained the low. Now, you'd expect this gap to be filled for the reasons, don't know, don't care. But we haven't filled those lows. So it's pretty simple. If we break the highs, what are the chances that we continue to fly higher? Well, based on what we're seeing here across the board in terms of USD weakness and the fact that we've gapped up and not closed the gap, there's a very high chance that we continue to fly. But if price breaks the low here and we fail to break the highs and we have the sustainability, which means that the bullish sentiment is just not strong enough to break, and we start shifting back to the downside, there's a very high chance that we can come back down to some of these lows. So I think gold is very simple to trade once given the evidence, guys. It doesn't mean it's 100% fact that it is going to go in our direction, but definitely look out for it. And that's my bias on gold. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, guys, today was a character building moment, an opportunity for us just to be patient and wait for the markets to talk to us. As far as I'm concerned, there wasn't much to be spoken about from the markets. So we'll come back tomorrow, see what's popping, and go from there. But other than that, guys, have a good evening, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow.